All right, welcome back. Today we're going to get into something really fascinating. Two worlds built on systems of absolute, total control. We're going to explore what it even means to break free when reality itself is the cage. And let's just start with this one line that honestly says it all. It's from a story called Meat Calendars, and it perfectly captures a system so absolute, it doesn't just control the world, it is the world. Okay, so let's set the scene here. We're going to be visiting two cities, Vorix, procedural, and compensation. And each one is this incredibly powerful, kind of haunting allegory for how systems, whether they're built on paper or, well, flesh, can define every single thing about our lives. So on one hand, you've got Vex procedural. This is a city where if you're not on the map, you literally don't exist. Simple as that. Reality is just whatever the paperwork says it is. And then on the other hand, we have the city of compensation, where your body, it's just collateral on a loan you never even signed. Your whole life is just a payment plan, scheduled right down to the specific organ. So the big question is, how do these systems actually get so powerful? Well, it's all about the tools they use. And in these worlds, the tools are maps and calendars. But they're not just tools. They've been elevated to the level of unshakable physical law. So, in Vex procedural, the ultimate punishment isn't getting locked up. No, it's being folded. Just imagine a place, a neighborhood, maybe a whole way of life that just doesn't fit the official forms. The registry, this all-powerful bureaucracy, doesn't just ignore it. It compresses it, files it away, and literally makes it stop existing. It's bureaucratic violence on a totally metaphysical scale. Kind of terrifying, right? And then you have compensation, where your entire life is run by the meat calendar. Get this, Wednesday is liver day. And that's not a law you can debate, it's just a fact of nature. It's as inevitable as the sunrise. See, the system pretends it's just this natural biological rhythm, but what it's really doing is hiding this absolutely brutal economy of extraction that's going on right underneath the surface.
And that's the truly twisted genius of these systems, right? They don't show up and say, hey, we're here to oppress you. No way. They frame themselves as being totally rational, scientific, just necessary paperwork for the greater good. They're basically myths disguised as spreadsheets and schedules. And honestly, that's what makes them so terrifyingly effective. But here's the thing. Even in these perfectly controlled worlds, something always breaks. It never starts with a big explosion, though. It starts small, like with the twitch of a hand or the discovery of a forged signature. So let's get into how these tiny, tiny cracks can grow into a full-blown rebellion.
And our heroes, well, they are not your typical revolutionaries. Not at all. First, you've got Malokesh. He's just a low-level clerk, and his rebellion starts as a literal disease. His hand just starts drawing these maps of truths the registry is desperately trying to hide. Then there's Mir Vess. For her, it all kicks off when she finds the master contract and sees her own signature on it. A signature that pledged her body to this debt before she was even born. And what's so cool is that even though their stories are worlds apart, their journeys follow the exact same blueprint. It's like a three-step process. First, there's this involuntary awakening. They don't choose to see the truth, it's kind of forced on them. Then, and this is crucial, comes a conscious act of defiance. They make a choice to do something about it. And finally, that one individual act, it inspires this huge collective transformation that ends up unraveling the entire system. And get this, their acts of rebellion are perfect reflections of the very systems they're fighting. So Malo commits what's called cartographic heresy. It's an act of creation. He doesn't just try to erase the old map, he draws a new one, a more truthful one. Meanwhile, Misrin organizes a collective default. This is an act of refusal. Her people don't pick up weapons and fight. They just stop participating. And just like that, the entire brutal economy just grinds to a halt. So, what happens when you unfold reality itself or default on a debt to the entire cosmos? Well, you get something completely new. The end of these oppressive systems isn't really an end at all. It's a radical, totally new beginning. And you can really see the massive shift here. The entire foundation of life moves from control and debt to participation and connection. Reality stops being this fixed document you have to follow, and it becomes an ongoing conversation. And maybe most importantly, people are no longer just resources to be filed away or, extracted from. They actually become the architects of their own world. A huge change. So what does this look like? Well, Vex Procedural becomes the unfolded city, a fluid, dynamic place where people actually go to the School of Living Maps to learn how to draw their own reality. It's amazing. And compensation? It's renamed Contribution. It becomes a city of gifts, where community is built on free exchange, not forced debt. And in an incredible twist, even the cosmic creditor learns that receiving a gift is way more valuable than collecting a debt. Okay, so this is all fascinating stuff. But why does any of it matter to us? Because, let's be real, these aren't just cool sci-fi stories. They are powerful, powerful allegories for the invisible systems, the maps, the calendars that shape our own lives every single day. So there are two really big takeaways here. First is this idea that the map is not the territory. All the systems we use to classify our world, bureaucracy, data, social norms, they aren't reality itself. They're just one version of it. And that means we have the power to draw different maps. And the second big idea, life is not a ledger. This narrative that we're all in some kind of debt, that our existence is just about paying something off, that's just a story. And it's one we don't have to accept. We can choose to see value in gifts, not just transactions. And this final quote, man, it just nails the central takeaway of both stories. It's that sustainability, it isn't about systems. It's about relationships. Systems are what you build when you don't trust people to connect with each other. And what these stories show us so powerfully is that human connection is always, always more resilient and more powerful than any rigid system designed to control it. So that leaves us with one last provocative thought, a challenge, really. Take a second to look around at your own world. What are the invisible maps and the unspoken calendars that are structuring your life? The expectations, the obligations, all of it. And once you see them, ask yourself the really important question: what would it take for you to begin to redraw them?